beautiful people, welcome to September and September's energy update and medicine story. It is so wonderful to be back sharing with you all, to sit and weave these journeys, these conversations, these insights, these threads of thoughts and feelings of what is moving through us individually and collectively. So if you've been feeling a little shaky, here's why. As above, so below. What a start to September. Now, it was only late part of last week I experienced once again being thrown out of sleep and hearing my name being called. Now, that's not something that happens all of the time. However, when it does, I pay attention. I've learned to pay attention. It's always significant. It's always profound. And it seems to always be a female voice. Now, you might be thinking, you must be able to know who that is. I don't. And the thing is, I've often sat there and thought, well, was I dreaming that? But quite often I'm thrown out of sleep. So I had a realization last week as I laid there and fell into that experience, that I realize I'm being pulled out of my sleep. So it's like something that is happening outside of me. It's like I'm being called to, and that was the tone, that was the feeling that I had with it, is that I'm being called to, as if I'm being called to wake up. And that's profound. So I pay attention to it, and I remember laying there and thinking, well, I've just absolutely been thrown out of sleep. And the tone was like, Shane, as if there is a sense of that calling to me. And I laid there, and the house was really silent and quiet, and it was very early in the morning, and also outside was really, really quiet. And I just laid there and thought, that was them. And it's profound. And over the years, I've just lent into that and gone, right, I just need to pay attention. And then thereafter, I proceeded to join all these dots up, and it was like so many pennies dropped into place. So if you've been feeling a little shaky, here's why. As above, so below. At winter solstice, Spirit whispered to me, look to the stars if you want to understand. I remember kind of hearing that and thinking, what does that actually mean? There's always a question. I think that's really healthy, that we question these experiences without over questioning them. We inquire. There we are. Thank you. I think that comes from deep within me. We inquire. As my journey into alchemy richened, I dug deep, tracing those hidden influences, those alchemical threads that are tugging at us individually and collectively. And what I found wasn't just like astrology. I mean, my respect for astrology has become so deep, and understanding that it's such a kind of deep mystical science that again has been diluted and duped by the Matrix to really pull us away from understanding those influences, you know, because it's like, can't have people understanding how the universe works, you know. So it was like, oh, I didn't just find astrology, I found what was story, what was myth, what is raw medicine woven together. And this summer I like saw how I could bring that alive through my gift of storytelling. And I began shaping what I saw into medicine stories, these cosmic characters, these influences, these planetary influences as cosmic characters and elemental forces that reveal the energy shaping our times. So as above, so below, as within, as without. It's profound. So, you know, just as the tarot carries keys and tales and stories, so too does the stars and the skies. And so here is September's story and energy insight and update. Pluto has broken past the line the sky once swore was unbreakable. So at this time, it isn't just a cleanse. It's not just a tidy purge of the season. And you may be feeling that within your lives, like this sense of wanting to clear, cleanse, purge, declutter, get rid of, in all ways and manners, you know, from what is around you physically, to clearing out email boxes, to stripping back contacts. It's like this purge that is moving through every aspect of life. And it isn't just a seasonal purge. Looking up at the sky, understanding those influences there within the stars, this is a 10-year rupture, a mutation, a epoch, just absolutely stripping out. So you find yourself wanting to declutter and cleanse. You are feeling the tide of that energy. It's like Pluto has torn loose from the sun's chain, slipped the orbit of false authority. That's really powerful. Pluto has torn loose from the sun's chain, slipped the orbit of false authority. We're going to absolutely see that play out in the world. And I feel especially here and across the pond. He no longer bends to borrowed light. He no longer bends to borrowed light. Those that are anchored in false light, those that are anchored in borrowed light. So the systems themselves marked for dismantling and termination. And if you look out into the world, anything that is no longer working is absolutely breaking down. The force in the ruins doesn't care if we're ready. It won't soothe, it won't bargain, it won't explain. It only erases what rules without consent. Alright, so it's going to feel like a really messy time. And I think it is. Pluto turns up when the world is in need of transformation. And in mythic times, Pluto descended into the underworld, a place where secrets festered and forgotten, truths whispered. With a lantern in one hand, shining a light on it, with a lantern on one hand and a key in the other. Pluto guides us through the Shadowlands, showing us what must die for new life to emerge. You know, to meet Pluto is to confront fear, which is maybe why so many of us are feeling shaky, because Pluto's moving through the collective, moving through the world, and stirring up all this unresolved stuff. And to meet Pluto is to confront fear, obsession, power, both lost. Okay, so you might also be having lots of memories from the past surfacing, because it is this power that's both lost, so fragmentation, soul fragments coming back to you. There might be a part of you that said, I need to reclaim who I am. So power that's both lost and also wielded. You know, be others that are being humbled. There's a humbling going on. Okay, so people being knocked off their feet to be humbled. That's Pluto at work also. You know, though feared, Pluto is not merely a harbinger of destruction like Kali and the Morrigan. You know, they have that energy. So not just merely a harbinger of destruction. They are the alchemist of the cosmos, turning despair into insight, endings into rebirth, and darkness into empowerment. You know, in the human realm, Pluto teaches us that loss is not final. Okay, loss is not final, because there's lots of endings. It's teaching us that it's not final, that hidden desires can be transformed, and that every shadow holds a seed of profound personal evolution.